Hello and a very warm welcome to our YouTube channel Corrosion Control and Inspections. We will be sharing informative videos on various corrosion controls and its preventive measures, non-destructive as well as destructive inspections, welding, metallurgy, coating selections and paintings as well as asset integrity assessments related topics. Your valuable feedback will be important for us. Do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel. Press bell icon to keep yourself notified about upcoming videos. In this video we will discuss what is scanning electron microscopy, SEM, analysis. What is SEM analysis used for? What is the principle of scanning electron microscopy? What is the scanning electron microscopy image? What are the components of scanning electron microscopy? Which is better, scanning electron microscopy or transmission electron microscopy? What is difference between scanning electron microscopy and transmission electron microscopy? Why anode is used in scanning electron microscopy? Scanning electron microscopy, or SEM analysis, provides high-resolution imaging useful for evaluating various materials for surface fractures, flaws, contaminants or corrosion. Through SEM and EDS analysis, metallurgical experts can provide a thorough examination of material properties and give valuable insights to manufacturers or end users. SEM analysis is a powerful investigative tool which uses a focused beam of electrons to produce complex, high-magnification images of a sample's surface topography. Once an area of interest has been identified on the sample and evaluated using SEM, experts can dive deeper into the detail of the material using energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy, or EDS analysis. Performing a visual analysis of a surface using scanning electron microscopy contributes to the identification of contaminants or unknown particles, the cause of failure and interactions between materials. Scanning electron microscopy (SEM) services are used to study surfaces and particles, targeting failure analysis of components, visualization of texture and morphology, or contamination of materials. Scanning electron microscopy (SEM) is a test process that scans a sample with an electron beam to produce a magnified image for analysis. The method is also known as SEM analysis and SEM microscopy, and is used very effectively in microanalysis and failure analysis of solid inorganic materials. Electron microscopy is performed at high magnifications, generates high-resolution images and precisely measures very small features and objects. The scanning electron microscope works on the principle of applying kinetic energy to produce signals on the interaction of the electrons. These electrons are secondary electrons, backscattered electrons, and diffracted backscattered electrons which are used to view crystallized elements and photons. Scanning electron microscopes (SEMs) use an electron beam to image samples with a resolution down to the nanometer scale. The electrons are emitted from a filament and collimated into a beam in the electron source. The beam is then focused on the sample surface by a set of lenses in the electron column. An SEM image is formed by a beam of electrons focused to a few billionths of a meter that is swept across the surface of a sample in a series of stacked rows until a complete two-dimensional pattern is formed. Scanning electron microscopy imaging occurs by scanning the sample with a high-energy beam of electrons. When these electrons interact with the sample they create secondary electrons, characteristic X-rays, and backscattered electrons. One or more detectors collect these signals and form images that can be seen on a computer screen. Transmission electron microscopy (TEM) is another useful technique of characterization of nanomaterials. It's a quantitative method to determine the particle size, shape and distribution. TEM is also an electronic spectroscopic imaging technique but having a higher resolution than SEM. The sample prepared for TEM is thin so that electrons can pass through. Transmission electron microscopy (TEM) is a technique used to observe the features of very small specimens. The technology uses an accelerated beam of electrons, which passes through a very thin specimen to enable a scientist to observe features such as structure and morphology. Scanning electron microscopy and transmission electron microscopy are both valuable tools in the biological, physical, and chemical sciences. The main difference between scanning electron microscopy and transmission electron microscopy is that SEM creates an image by detecting reflected or knocked off electrons, while TEM uses transmitted electrons that are passing through the sample to create an image. TEM is the choice when you want to get information from the inner structure, while SEM is preferred when surface information is required. SEM focuses on the sample's surface and its composition. On the other hand, TEM seeks to see what is inside or beyond the surface. SEM also shows the sample bit by bit while TEM shows the sample as a whole. SEM also provides a three-dimensional image while TEM delivers a two-dimensional picture. A scanning electron microscope (SEM) projects and scans a focused stream of electrons over a surface to create an image. The electrons in the beam interact with the sample, thereby producing various signals that can be used to obtain information about the surface's topography and composition. In a tube, the anode is a charged positive plate that collects the electrons emitted by the cathode through electric attraction. It also accelerates the flow of these electrons. In the case of a scanning electron microscope (SEM), two types of signal are typically detected: the backscattered electrons BSE, and the secondary electrons SE. The anode receives the flow of electrons electron beam emitted from the cathode, and guides the electron flow downward through the hole at its center. Thanks for visiting our channel. We hope you liked our content. In order to know more about various corrosion control measures and state-of-the-art technologies as well as certifications and jobs-related informatios, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment on our channel.